So now we'll just quickly go through a couple of things. What about ISO 50001 certification process based on the management system model of continual improvement, also used for other well-known standards such as ISO 9001, ISO 14001. So essentially it's ISO 9001 but for energy. The other one that you hear a lot of is superior energy performance that came out of the DOE down in the States. And it's a certification recognition program for facilities demonstrating energy management excellence and sustained energy savings. So ISO 50001, we have a couple of organizations who have gone through that process, got ISO 50001, and we have others who are thinking about it. Effectively, it provides a framework, and just like ISO 9001 on its own, it doesn't do anything. You have to act on it, and you have to say what is it that you're going to accomplish. Does not require energy savings targets. There is no requirement in ISO 50001 that you save energy. All it requires is it tells you, I'm using energy in this way for these purposes, this much. They're going through it and say, oh, okay. I was part of ISO 9001 procedure when in the early 90s. We were one of the first people in province to have it. And I can tell you that I could write in ISO 9001, I'm making scrap every single day, and ISO 9001 would be like, as long as you make scrap, you told me you make scrap, you're good to go. Same with this. Do not fool yourself. You have to know what you're doing. It's down to you, not to the standard. You can't blame ISO 50001 if nothing happens. There's more info, and once you get the presentation, there will be a link in there to that if you're interested in more. So superior energy performance, and the Department of Energy down in the States has recognized that ISO 50001 doesn't actually build in any energy saving targets in it. So what they've done is they generated the superior energy performance, and they take ISO 50001 to the next step. Now you have to actually tell them how much you're going to save and then stick to it. They measure you based on what you told them you're going to save over a year. So that's what they call superior energy performance. Again, more info there. And a lot of people will tell me, well, you know, is this everything? We worked really hard on ISO 50001 and you're skipping it in one slide. The point here that I'm trying to make is that the building block for all of these certifications is energy management. You have to manage your energy before you go for certification. Otherwise, you will have a hell of a time getting certified. So if it's building block for both, and you're going to get improved productivity by using energy management in the first place, why wouldn't you just go and do energy management first? Why do you have to go whole hog and swallow everything at once? Do it in steps. Implement some energy management, possibly on a small part of your facility. Get some savings, use those savings to build energy management for the rest of the facility. Once you have energy management in place, getting ISO certification is a relatively simple process if you have all the energy management steps in place. Otherwise, you have to start from scratch anyways. And you could have already have a year behind you generating savings through your energy management program. This is why I'm focused on energy management rather than on any specific certification. They're all good things. They're all good to aim for. But energy management is the basis, is the common sense behind certification. So let's focus on these things. Implement those energy management steps. Use their own merits to justify it, because then you will get the savings that you require. And then you can get the certification afterwards easily. We want you to make decisions based on knowledge, especially in the energy field. Energy is not something you can measure very easily so far. People haven't paid much attention because we had cheap energy all over the place. So we tend to guess at it rather than have knowledge. Follow through with actions based on those decisions. Just decisions themselves and knowledge themselves do not change anything. You have to do some action to actually save. Speaking of which, reap the savings. This is the summary. This is the heart of the process. And if you think about it, this is any process you ever approached in your life, personal or professional. You don't buy a piece of equipment just because you like the shiny paint. You buy it because you have to make something. Same with energy. Don't buy it just because I bought last year the same amount. Understand why you need it, then buy it. Use historical data, combine it with your process variables, do data analysis that makes sense to your facility. Do linear regression to whatever energy drivers are for your process, and get QSUM to alert you when something goes out of whack. I cannot stress this enough. You're asking management for money today, and you're telling them, I'll be good, promise. I have a little nephew, said, I only want one cookie. I promise I'll be good. Well, promise lasted as long as the cookie lasted. Same with this. Management looks at us and says, you want $250,000 for what? What am I going to get out of it? So make sure you have enough information that when you tell them you're going to get $250,000 back in this period of time, it's actually based on something. Don't forget the employees. I worked in the unionized environment, difficult place to work, but ultimately they're the people who will save your behind. They're the people who will turn the button. They're the people who will turn the machine off when they leave. If you have to go after each one of your 3,000 employees to make sure that they turn it off, you're done. You're wasting time. Treat energy like anything else. Keep repeating that to them. If you need 3 kilograms of paint, you need this many gigajoules. That's it. It's simple as that. Set targets that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Don't use high-level speech for we want to be better citizen. That's fine for the marketing brochure, but that's not actionable. If it's not actionable, nobody will do anything. And use everyday examples to describe goals. This is very important. I don't know how much, I read somewhere that typical swimming pool uses 100 cubic meters of water or something like that. So tell the guys, you saved 3 swimming pools of water. That means to them more than 300 cubic meters of water. Because I work in this field, I still don't know how much cubic meter of water exactly is. But I know what the pool looks like. Use them. Those are simple examples. Why not use them to your benefit? It can be expensive. I'm not going to tell you that it's not. It can be very expensive. It doesn't need to be. You can start small. Nobody needs to start top level down. Put a meter on 2 users that you need measured, start from there, prove the savings. The next will sell itself. Those are very important steps. I was sharing the information here before. I used to install my first system that we did, like a SCADA system in a production facility. It had 2,200 data points. We spent $200 and something thousand on it. It was complete worthless garbage because we didn't know how to calibrate 2,200 points in time before the report was generated and people looked at it and laughed at it. So the next system we installed it at 12 data points to start with. And we had a buy-in that allows us to invest another $50,000 to get another 50 data points. Same with this. Start small if need be. If you can afford $250,000 system, go for it. But you don't have to have a successful implementation. This is also a fact. Can be your best investment. Many of us are squeezing our suppliers already. Give me the best cost on your input. You're squeezing the labor. Give me the best deal on your bargaining. But nobody's looking at energy. If you say 1% of your cost on energy, it's a feel-good measure. Nobody's hurt. Nobody needs to leave the post. Nobody has to work overtime. It's still 1% of the profit, just as it would be if you had to force whole collective bargaining agreement to get you that 1% savings. Which one is easier to achieve? And this we have to remember. Failure is the most expensive option. So don't just do it because it's the word of the day. Do it because you believe in it, and then do the groundwork to make sure that you have the facts before you act. Job of our energy management leadership is to eliminate the risk of failure. Get the information you need, triple and double check. We have our energy solutions guys. We work for Enbridge, so we don't really work for anybody, any vendor. We don't even recommend a vendor to work with. We can tell you who we had good success with, but we can't recommend a vendor. We don't want to. You deal with your vendors. But that's why we can give you unbiased opinion. If you have some ideas, call up your ESC and say, you know what, I'm playing with this idea. What do you think? And you'll get unbiased opinion. We don't care who you buy it from or if you buy equipment at all. I had a customer where we just walked by through the makeup air unit and I said, those filters look really dirty. She happened to change the filters on a makeup air unit, on 30,000 CFM makeup air unit, and her bill went down by 5%. Like, these are not heavy investment. We do not care if you spend huge amounts of money. We want you to save energy. Lessons learned. This is some of the stuff that we've done. I personally had 4 customers implement energy management, my own customers. All drastically different. We went from the $10,000 investment to $275,000 investment. What did we learn from those? Energy audit forms the basis, must be done right. Don't have it done by a vendor who is trying to sell you some other equipment aside from that. If all I have is a hammer, everything will look like a nail. So if I'm selling you a direct contact water heater seems to be the solution to every one of your problems. Use common sense. Consult your ENC for an unbiased opinion if you need to. Best implementations are the boring ones. People forget that. They all want to go for the home run. I'm going to knock that ball 400 feet away. Well, chances are you will not. And the successes that you build on are these small things, things that are implemented seamlessly into what you already have. The best implementation that I have seen is the graph where we have 3 meters reading on every single PLC screen in the facility, and the graph is actually going backwards. But it's used every single day by the guy to monitor, say, oh, I'm online, I'm not. They saved some equivalent of about 11% of their usage on 6 million cubic meters by looking at 3 graphs. It cost them about $20,000 total. Like, these are things that can happen. This is not made up stuff. So use stuff that you can integrate seamlessly and that your guys can maintain. There's no point in getting ultra fancy meter if nobody in your facility knows how to maintain it, and it'll be out of service in 3 months. And then you'll go back to management and say, I need another $30,000 to fix it. Who's going to give it to you? You already promised me savings 3 months ago. I haven't seen any, and now you want more money. So use something that fits your facility. And this I cannot stress enough. Use the same rigor for energy management, hardware, software implementation as you would for anything else that your facility depends on. It is no different than buying a paint line. It's no different than buying a new press. It's no different than buying a new boiler. What are specifications? What am I expecting? How am I going to get there? It's typical justification for spending money. Do it on this as well. There's no reason to treat it differently. It's not different. It's the same stuff. Okay, so that's all I had for now. So thank you. Any questions, please also come up here. If you have any questions, touch the meter, whatever it is. You have our ESCs here. You can ask them questions. You can come up to me. Thank you once again for coming. It was great to have you, and I hope that this gave you some insight in how to proceed with the energy management software.